Thank you all for coming and joining with us. And we have Professor Roldan from New Jersey, who epitomizes what our country wants to be all about. But even when you reach the highest levels of academia, you can still be deeply burdened by debt. And she'll talk about that. First in her family, to be able to graduate from college, between her and her husband, an enormous amount of debt, I think around $170,000, living with her family for a period of time so that they could pay that down and saved for a home, and then God intervened and decided you're going to have 2 children. So along the way, these are real-life challenges, and they're very compelling. And I'll just say, as I turn it over to Mecheline, that for many of us, this is very real. In my own life, as someone who is the son of immigrant parents, first in his family to go to college, growing up poor in a tenement in New Jersey, the only way that I got to go to college and then later go to law school was with the power of the federal government and its loans and assistance programs. And but for that, I certainly wouldn't be one of 100 United States senators. We want that to be the opportunity to be a birthright for every American who has the ability, willing to work hard and be able to achieve. And we need it as a national imperative because we are globally challenged, which means we need the apex of the highest education of Americans we've ever had. And Professor Roldan is an example of that. So welcome and thank you for sharing your story.
Thank you so much, Senator Menendez, for that amazing introduction. My name is Mecheline Farhat Roldan. My story begins, I am a product of hardworking Lebanese immigrants. My parents escaped Lebanon from the civil war that was happening in the 1970s to Venezuela. My father worked very hard from nothing to build up businesses there. He gave it all up when the economy started to go bad in Venezuela, all for the sake of us being educated. My whole life, my parents told me the reason we're in the US, because this is the land of opportunity. This is where my daughters can receive a really strong education and do not have to struggle paycheck to paycheck like we did. Yet I find myself in my parents' position. I graduated from Seton Hall University and John Jay College of Criminal Justice with a master's. I have enjoyed a career in victim services. Not glamorous, not high-paying jobs, but it's my way of giving back to the community. I am married, as Senator Menendez said. I'm coming up 4 years. I have 2 beautiful little girls, ages 2 and 1. So pray for me. I'm also an assistant professor at Bergen Community College. I am a product of a community college and believe in what community colleges do for students, and so my give back was to go work at a community college. And I don't just teach criminal justice and sociology courses. I am an advisor. I'm also the advisor for student government. I do academic advising. I do leadership workshops. I try to give back as much as I can to these students. But sadly, as Senator Menendez stated, I'm heavily in debt. $170,000 is not small change. Seton Hall and John Jay are very reputable universities, and I knew that going to these schools would help me really get good jobs, and they have. People are very impressed with the John Jay, Seton Hall background, but they came at a price. My husband went to Drexel for his MBA. I see people going, yes, Drexel, of course. See, Drexel's a great school, but that came at a price. And so when you have $170,000 in debt and you are a community college professor, one of the fallacies that people tend to believe is that college professors get paid a lot of money. You have to work for a lot of years to get up to the 6-figure salary as a college professor or work as a researcher in the research institutions such as Rutgers University. Majority of us sit in a lower pay grade, ranging from I started at $46,000. So you can imagine $170,000 in debt, starting at $46,000. You start to do the math. Our student loan debt is more than our mortgage. Right? We're at almost $2,000 in student loan every month, and our mortgage is about $1,580. So you can imagine the difference in that. And daycare doesn't come cheap. And if I don't put my children in daycare, child services will probably take them away. I can't leave them alone. So So what has it done? I forfeited maternity leave twice. I actually worked through both pregnancies. In fact, the second semester, I delivered my child, and 2 days later in the hospital, I was greeting students online. Welcome to this class. I'm so happy to see you. We live paycheck to paycheck. We can't save for our children's education. I can no longer help my parents. My sisters and I were trying to help them financially because they borrowed a lot of money just to be able to put food on the table and keep the lights on. And like the person sitting next to me, when I was in school, I did well in school, but I didn't receive a lot of financial aid that would cover my tuition, and I was not given the Pell Grant my last 2 years because my parents hit that threshold, and such. So, and my brother's in school, and my parents are continuing to pull from the line of credit to send him to community college. That's a struggle. At the same juncture, I see my students struggle, and I will tell you their stories. You know, my students are working 3 or 4 jobs just to pay community college tuition. And so to me, that's alarming, you know, that's occurring in this country. And honestly, it makes me feel a little bit like I was lied to or deceived in terms of this is a land of opportunity. If I work hard, you know, I've been working since I was 12 years, and I'll wrap this up, I'm so sorry, but I've been working since I was 12 years old. I've had 3 or 4 jobs my entire life. I worked hard, I played by the rules, I did everything I was supposed to do. I'm giving back to the community, and we're playing a game of how much money can we pull to make ends meet?